champions, as they still won't escape the ban phase, those being Vi and Nefiri. LGD and WE respectively ban those ones away. Blue side is 2-0 in this series, what you normally expect based on the statistics of this side in the LPL so far, but WE head back up on this one. We're not gonna, yes, like when priority still comes through as a ban. You mentioned it, like game 4 we get really crazy, but part of that is because even with Fearless, the first phase bans tend to stay pretty similar no matter how many other champions are taken away by this new format.
I wonder, right here, I don't see a Nico ban from any side unless LGD choose to have it as a third ban. Do you prioritize a champion like Nico that can be paired up with particularly any AD carry that you want, but pairs up really, really nicely with the Kai'Sa? The answer is no from LGD.
Taeyoon's Ezreal sneaks through, though. That has been banned by LGD this whole series, so it's a safe B1. It's the safest AD carry I can think of off the top of my head in the pool, especially right now. Do WE want to give Taeyoon a comfort game here for a rubber match? It's hard not to see. It's hard not to say why not. And looks like that's going to be the case. Taeyoon's most deadly champion in the LPL in 2025, locked in for Game 3.
I would love to see an Ezreal versus Draven matchup right here. Shaoye is the Draven guy. He is the Kalista guy, and those kind of champions traditionally pretty good into things like the Ezreal right here. However, I will say Kalista's a little bit more difficult because you've got Renata and Nico out the pool, so her two best pairings have already been taken away. However, Lucian, he's got Nami, he's got Milio as well, so you've got pretty good pairings. So you've got Braum too, so you've got like 3 supports that can very easily pair up with something like this. That's something that I wasn't expecting to see, neither do I like to see, but they're looking for any sort of tanky champions that can go up against things like Ezreal that do really struggle with killing tanks.
Yeah, so, and they're going to put hyper-scaling mid laner, looks like, behind it for XQW, the Victor. So again, LGD are, introducing scaling aspects into their comp. A lot of the time that's been on Shaoye's plate, but now they're going to give XQW another chance after the Azir game fell a little bit flat. Where do WE want to go here? Shore up the bottom lane. And I wonder, they have left Monki's pick off to the second phase already in this series, so Trouble, what would you like to see on this B3 knowing that we've got the bottom lane shored up?
Probably something like a mid laner, maybe. I'm looking a lot at the distance that Ezreal likes to play with, so maybe something like a Hui even for Karis would have been cool here to go up against the Victor. You've got longer range than the Victor as well. You clear waves really nicely. I mean, the Akali here is very ambitious. Because you're looking at the same sort of matchup with like Akali versus Azir, right? Where you have kill pressure, especially after that level 6. But I feel like if you are playing from distance, you are playing for poke. I feel like Ezreal and Hui would be fantastic for this one here. Now, I'm getting kind of worried because there's a lot of open-endedness for the bot lane for the set of LGD. You can go towards a Draven line, but also Milio Lucian is going to be so good here. Milio stops the Leona engage, and you get out of stuns really easily as well. So they would really be able to punish that Ezreal bot lane.
It's just a tough spot to, because you can't blind one in the first phase, because the other one's just going to get banned and taken away, right? So you pick the Lucian, you're going to lose the Milio, and another pairing, you pick the Milio. I mean, you just don't pick the Milio blind, not the Lucian. That's the easiest ban.
True.
So, it's a tough spot to be in, and they likely won't have that option. I would expect WE to ban. Just take the Lucian away. It would make sure you don't have to worry about the rest of those pairings. What I do want to draw attention to, Climber, who you called out as the bridge player for LGD's comp last game with the Pantheon. I mean, the Lee Sin is definitely another champion that fits that bill, but is a lot less meta and a lot harder to execute on than that Pantheon.
Yeah, and I feel like you've got a lot of slippery champions. Traditionally, Lee Sin very good into Akali, but reaching that Ezreal, specifically with that Kane shift up, a little bit harder. You're also running the risk of like diving deep into a Leona. You get cute in the face, you get stunned right there. You're pretty much dead because you're very squishy. So we're looking for early game aggression coming through with Climber, which is why I don't like his top side of the map off the get-go. You're playing through an Azir and a Victor, traditional, not really good pairings with Lee Sin. So I'm looking to see what really is going to transpire towards the bottom of the map. Like, it has to be the point of interest for LGD, right? They drafted that Lee Sin. You're playing for early game aggression. Give me that Draven. Give me that Lucian.
Yeah, I think the Draven's going to be the option. But if WE don't ban Milio, they're going to go for the Rouse, so they leave up both those Enchanter pairings. I would have figured they'd take away the Milio. The Nami still works with Lucian, but is a lot less of a counter to the WE comp, as you were calling out with this Leona. Akali, feel like this is just the easy pick here for YCX.
Give me
Shaoye is hovering in.
Emilio.
Lucian Emilio, let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like the only risk that you're running later on with Emilio is that Emilio is very squishy, right? So you're playing into things like a Kali and whatever else that we are gonna come out with, like maybe something like a Viego that Monki has played before for like a strong mid jungle. I wouldn't be surprised to even see something like a Navi has done in the past, with something like a Kha'Zix. So you get like a double assassin running into the backline, right? You're pretty safe right here to try and farm and play for that backline, but maybe he'll play towards more of like a facilitating role like here. You have the Aatrox, the Akali, the Ezreal. There's already way too much damage. Why not add a little bit more? It's Monki after all.
Why not? Let's just dive in. We know what
W's
gonna do.
Man. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, no one cares.
Let's pick the champions that win fights. Let's pick the champion that if he gets a reset, the fight's over. Because we know Monkey's going to run in every fight he sees under the sun. So Viego does get locked in. Do we see YCX go for the Emilio?
Has to be Emilio. Like, it has to be Emilio here.
You don't need more tank. You don't. I mean, I guess you could get some extra peel. This is the thing. All right, so YCX does grab the Emilio as that one enchanter, the very squishy target across the board here, but the big takeaway for me, Trouble, once again, WE are just drafting to fight their way to a win.
Absolutely. I feel like if you are looking to brawl, however, you're looking at least one item on your Akali. You're looking at least at Trinity Force or Collector, whichever one he builds first, Monki, onto that Viego. Aatrox, a scaling champion, usually Ezreal, you need those two items. So I feel like for WE, their best timing to fight is on that two-item transition. And for LGD, I feel like they have a much earlier spike. I mean, like Essence River on Lucian, first item onto Lee Sin as well. Like, this is where you're gonna choose to take those brawls. And also, let's not forget all of those bedazzles coming through, like the burns from Emilio, the shields, the heals coming through from his W as well. Like, there's a lot of power in Emilio's kit to make those early AD spiking champions even stronger.
There's a lot in that kit for the Emilio to spoil the lockdown that Team W are going to try to bring through with that Leona, with those Viego stunts as well, in a prime position. But again, awesome to see we are in a new level here for this play-in tournament. We are 1-1 apiece. LGD looking to do what everybody but Rafa thought they could not do, which is try and knock off a Group Ascent team, try and get revenge on World Elite for putting them in a single round robin bracket, taking them away from all the fun of Group Ascent, best of 3, 18 best of 3s. And a great way to do it is to get to series point. Once we get off the Rift here, Trouble, one of our two squads will be at that breaking point.
I mean, it had to come down to this, right? These two teams decided who goes up to Ascent and down to Nirvana. Those two teams will decide who makes it through to the playoffs.
Who makes it through as the Jayos bring on in. Awesome to hear fans loud and proud in the arena, knowing that the stakes have heightened in this series. Not in this series, sorry, folks. In the LPL, we are into that play-in stage. We're already seeing chess pieces starting to move around the Rift. A ward dropped here by XQW. Going to spot the initial clear out of Monki. He also tries to read Climber. That is what is really different about this matchup in particular compared to how the series has looked so far between Monki and Climber, right? It's been, you know, you've had the Pantheon matched up against these other proactive junglers. We've had Monki on the Skarner at points. He picks the Trundle into the Pantheon, right? Like, all these junglers that want to use the timers allotted on the new Rift to gank, to fight. But now Monki is in that spot where he's playing a power clearing Viego. And Sasi knows that as well. He's trying to slow down the clear, but Cube springs a trap here. Actually going to cover his jungler, essentially leash him his blue buff start. Good to see Sasi, though, is right in line with how this Udyr wants to be. We haven't seen it in a while. It's a bit of a nuisance. Tries to be just a thorn in the side of, for now, the WE composition. So it's getting some fairly good damage into Cube. Remember, the Udyr has a lot of great sustain in his kit with that tortoise stance, turtle stance, whatever we want to call it. We've seen a lot of changes come to that kit nonetheless. Do see a very interesting clear out. Well, actually not. Climber's just going to full clear his top side. So is Monki, who's a bit quicker down the line so far, despite the heroics of Sasi to try and slow down his pace. Bottom lane push is going over to Shaoye and YCX as we speak, so Lucian gets a lot of priority. And it's good to see XQW a fair chunk into Karis. We know the Akali's going to bring a lot of kill threat in this lane, but that's not until Ultimate comes online. It's still, in essence, a range versus melee matchup down there for the time being. But some of these lanes trouble going as expected. Market Lee, Shaoye, and YCX, you expected this Lucian to find priority and first level bump up for that LGD bottom lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the Q from Milio is a very good tool for when Leona dives in. And what I really like that I saw from Climber right here is that he killed his top quadrant of the jungle, he backed, got that long sword, pats towards bot lane, which is where Monki pats too, but now he has the advantage of the extra item, the extra AD in his inventory. So not only does he have his bot lane back in the map, and again, we talked about the bedazzles from the Milio that really do help in that early game, he also has the extra help through his inventory.
Talked about it a bit right when we got on the Rift 2 Trouble, is that this is the first time we have Monki on a traditional, more power farming jungler that doesn't have as much agency early versus Climber. Still all about that agency, so good shout out that he also already would have been pretty favored in a 1v1 skirmish knowing Lee Sin's ability, but the longsword as well.
I love that. He's just chasing him around. Monki did the right thing here, which is he's just chasing him around. This is so funny. So basically what's happening, which
crab do you want?
Climber knows that he wins this 1v1, right? He has the bot lane, he has the top lane.
Oh my god, he juked him. He juked him. Oh my god. Well, that ward's valuable. All right. No, he's finally done. He's done. Oh, come on, Climber. Come on. You just got to trade the crab. You're too far behind. Well, he's got Raptors to clear up nonetheless, so.
All right.
Oh, does
that
Monki
was
chase
actually...
Climber now?
Wait. Oh. How the turns have tabled. No, okay.
Oh my god.
Monki's not going to do it. He's looking mid.
He knows that Climber is right nearby. Still gets the stun and the flash out of XQW. And probably smirking. He is going to double scuttle. Wow. Climber, that is not how you wanted this to pay off with your early longsword. You're now going to be down far. Look, he's scrambling to steal camps. He's praying that, like, wolves are up, blue is up, something. No. Monki is clearing out everything but Gromp. It does actually look like his wolves spawn up, so I misspoke. And Climber will be able to steal some camps away as Monki does show on that bot side.
Man, this is crazy. Both junglers are trying to outdo each other so much that I feel like Climber right here out-juked himself. I feel like blocking Monki once is fine, but blocking Monki twice kind of ruins your tempo, right? Because you're the one with the longsword. You're the one that should be taking the lead right here. Even though you've stolen the camps, still the level is even. And right now, Monki is on the rift with the Rectrix in his inventory and heading towards his top side of the map. Right here, he could be looking for Sasi.
Oh, Climber. Don't know if he realizes the reset came across. No, Monki doesn't know it. He's playing like Climber is still there. Didn't know that he had a 2 versus 1. The Climber reset does come across. Is able to take away those 2 camps. And now he's back out on the rift a bit stronger once again compared to Monki with that pickaxe control.
I mean, hey, listen, man. I can't blame Listen too much. He can't see. Okay? So it is what it is. He's
low
trying
blow,
to navigate
Trouble.
QXD, he's trying to navigate himself through feeling on the map, okay? But yeah, anyway. Pickaxe in the inventory versus Rectrix on the other side for Monki. They're gonna try to play through that bot side. You see that the dragon has spawned. It's going to be an ocean at the very beginning. Pickaxe in the inventory of Shaoye as well versus that Sheen for Taeyoon. And again, for that Lucian, we're looking for the first item, the Essence River to come through first. Once the... Right here, when you play with melee, you don't necessarily need the rapid fire, as you see the interaction with the E and Q that we talked about prior. Hold up.
Back many times, but oh my gosh, I don't think Climber was ready for all that damage out of Monki. I don't think either jungler is ready for the hands these bottom lanes are bringing. Climber, 1 auto away from death, having to flash out. Huge damage out of Taeyoon, and now they reap the rewards. Monki can easily solo this Ocean Drake.
Yeah, that was very well played from Monki right there. He actually held his stun, and when Climber overextended just a little bit, this is when he got jumped by 3 members of Team WE right here, which allows them to get onto that bot river and take the dragon, as Cube takes a huge chunk of his HP, because that Udyr champion is still very balanced in the early game.
Yeah, tank, by the way. I mean, he's got a Bramble Vest and Tier. He's just clubbing Cube down up there, so still balanced. By the way, Udyr buffs are coming, everybody, just in case you're curious.
Oh, fantastic.
Everybody loves in that change buff, right, Trouble? There's so much skill expression with Udyr.
I will not speak, I shall not speak. I
Oh, you'll
made
be fine?
a
All right,
tweet
yeah,
a few months ago, and didn't go very well. So I shall not speak again
Oh,
about that
oh,
champion
okay.
named Udyr.
All right. I did not know that before. That would have been crazy if I just forced you to public talk more about your disdain for the Udyr. We'll
My
focus away
arch
from
nemesis.
your arch nemesis Udyr. We'll fade away from Sasa because like this lane is kind of just a stalemate, almost cube.
Yeah.
Really gets over aggressive. You now look toward the grubs. They're now spawning on the rift. Still a ton of damage in both of these junglers' kits. The Climber, do you still feel like it is the better at skirmishing? So what do WE do to try and supplement for that? Well, they're bringing Vampire all the way up here. Look at the match from LGD. That's Sasa TPing into the mid lane. LGD Gaming making clear that they want all three of these grubs.
Yeah, they've got 4 members over on the top side of the map. Unfortunately, both AD carries are not going to be able to join for this one, but I also think that LGD are going to get pushed out of these void drops right here, as you can see. So they're going to steal 2, so they're going to still take that 1 tick on the neutral objectives, Face of Strength, because I can never remember what it's called to save my life. But they'll still get it. Thank you very much. 2 out of 3 does guarantee that. Yeah. And they did commit the TP right there, but still Udyr is going to head over the top of the map. You already had Shaoye sort of resetting, so everyone's going to go back to normal right here. I feel like both teams, they have like 3 minutes to sort of rearrange the lanes. And I feel like once you get to that Essence River Pollution, I was about to say that the rapid fire cannon is not necessary when you're playing with Milio, because you do have that range extension, but it's so much better. Oh, hold on.
All right, here we go. I was getting worried that we're going to be fighting 9 minutes in, but Vampire says, hello, here I come, and here's the reset you want, Monki. Coley comes out from Shaoye, though. He's going to try and flash. Can he get the Q through? No, but the double tap auto goes over Karis, and now he's got that range boost from Milio. Good trade back there, coming across from the LGD AD carry, rescuing that playmate from Vampire.
I have a feeling Climber's ult got ulted by Monki or Karis. I'm not sure, one of the two. So we didn't really see like the big kick underneath the tower going on right there, but XQW, game punish, didn't have the flash to react to that WE engage, and the kill going through to Akali, which the faster you get to your first item, the better you are as a champion. We have seen the Rocket Belt, we have seen the, I think the one with the thunder that comes through later on.
Oh, Storm Surge.
Okay. Doesn't matter, it's gonna be the Rocket Belt anyway. I don't have to remember the other item.
We might see Storm Surge later, potentially. Who knows? There's a lot of intricacies to the Akali build, especially knowing some of those other AP items that have recently been nerfed. I'm still uneasy that we only have 2 kills in 10 minutes in this series. Trouble, what has happened in my perma-fighting teams? Have we cleaned up our movements a bit?
I mean, when you told me that Lee Sin, Akali, Ezreal, and Lucian were in the game, I was expecting to double the kills that we've had so far in the early game, but it hasn't necessarily been the case. However, we did ask for teams to sort of, particularly WE, to like clean up the early game, because I don't feel like LGD were making too many early game mistakes. It was just WE overforcing the issue and then LGD punishing them. So I felt like LGD's early game was mostly more stable than WE, but WE here playing a little bit more slow, a little bit more calculated, which is only going to benefit them down the line, right? Like playing into Lee Sin, eventually the Lee Sin just becomes a kick bot towards the late game. It's going to be really difficult to find targets like the Ezreal in the backline, like Akali. Like they're very, very slippery, so finding a kick onto those is going to be extremely, extremely hard. And you definitely don't want to be kicking an Aatrox inside your own team.
Nope.
So we'll see how Climber is going to pilot that Lee Sin now that he's Eclipse.
And, you know, talking further about what a later game stage looks like. While Lucian scaling-wise really does benefit up. Oh, hold on. Vampires will pop out with the Hex Flash. It sets up Karis, who does have that Rocket Belt. The first Akali, perfect execution, gonna come across. Solar Flare, beautifully positioned there by Vampire. The stun lands on a YCX, and he's the one that ends up falling. But that's a 2-0 Akali out of Karis. Back-to-back 2-0 starts in this series. Ooh, Heartbreaker. Oh, Shaoye going for it all. Dashes forward, gets Taeyoon. But that's going to give Monki a kill back. Burns the barrier. Maybe try to get the dash reset. Gets it closer than we might have expected. But it's still trades across the rift. WE coming out a bit on top. That's Feats of Warfare secured, Trouble.
Yeah, it reminded me of what we said earlier in the draft. I said, Milio makes so much sense here playing into the Leona, right? But playing into the Akali, you are literally primary suspect number 1 for Akali. You are going to be the target over and over again, and YCX it shows like Milio is super squishy, right? And you're building towards like a very squishy item first as well, you know, building towards a Solari. So you are going to be a Karis target for the fights to come.
Another fight might be coming towards this Drake pit. This Vampire is able to actually kind of just pull the LGD off, you know, with Monki waiting in the wings. Wow, we've gone from perma-fighting to teams are leashing each other objectives. What a turnaround.
They have evolved through the series, as you would expect. As let's look one more time. See, Milio doesn't necessarily work that great with Victor. He also misses the Q on the Leona E, so Leona gets to connect and follow up on that. And following up on that means that you actually get stunned and die right there. He did have a chance for flash, so I feel like he got a little bit skill check in terms of the summoner stars right there, and then Shaoye plays a bit too aggressive, trying to get something over in the mid lane. Monki is around, however Shaoye is going to take the 1+2 kill right there, and now you can see he'll use fire to try and potentially escape right there, and if he did dodge, that was an auto that killed him, but if he could dodge a Q potentially, Climber was also around the corner, so that could have been a very interesting prospect of a skirmish, which is quite the case. Ends up going down, but the trade is a trade.
Karis, some plates off the board as well on this top side. Been pretty impressed with these last couple of games out of Karis. The Rise was really good early. Maybe that one Realm Warp over-aggressing into the bottom lane. Don't think that was even his call. So that play kind of slowed things down. And Kali, I mean, is there a champion better suited to shine in a single game than just AP Assassin? It is primed to burst through a conflict. Outside the Udyr is well within execute range of an Akali full kit right now.
Oh, absolutely, right? And then your primary target is Milio. You take Milio out of the equation, like, suddenly the value for things like Lucian, Lee Sin, it really falls low.
Oh, Vampire, we're locking in on these solar flares. He's got a bullseye trained. This first time it was YCX, same 3 letters, different order, XUW down. So we got a 3-0 Karis Akali.
Yeah, and real quickly, jungle support synergy back online for WE. Monki, Vampire playing together, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. That's exactly what we were praising, you know? Vampire on his own, I'm gonna do like the Drake meme, where it's like Monki on his own, not that great. Monki with, Vampire on his own, not that great. Vampire with Monki leading him, that's the good stuff. So
that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you pointed out, that's like the secret formula for WE's success. So just lean back into that, especially knowing that, I also love, coming from a draft perspective, right? They pair so well together, because what does Karis do? He gets kills, like, with ease, in seconds. And what does Monki need to flourish on the Viego? A soul to a repossession coming across. So Karis can set him up for that. Ooh, good flash from Vampire. Expecting the ward kick there out of Climber. So the kick goes down just for a Leona flash. Not a big toll to pay, as Rift Herald will still nonetheless be started up here by LGD. Very clearly on the vision of WE. Monki is way more, allured by an entire bot quadrant of camps to play for, and Vampire is back at it again. This guy's Leona is looking so sharp. He gets the Zenith Blade Solar Flare combination. Remember, Climber does not have that kick from earlier, so he can't get Karis off of his Victor. Perfect execution to find the kill. 4-0 Akali. Climber trying to shut it down, goes flash for flash, but doesn't have enough in the tank. Karis limping away with another kill for WE.
The true real MVP for Karis right there, the Cinder on the floor. The extra movement speed from grabbing that Cinder and walking under tower might have saved him from an extra auto or 2 from Climber. What a clutch moment for a little piece of fiery earth to be on the floor right there for Karis to pick up and get under tower safely. And I mean, I'll agree with you. You said on the other side, Monki was taking an entire quadrant to himself. Of course, like, Viego is a farming champion, right? And because WE know that they actually do scale better into the late game when it comes to, like, how team fights are going to be performed and how easy it will be for them. The ease of execution later on is there for them. So therefore, Viego is a farming champion. He likes to have the extra items. You get your 2 to 3 items with that extra Guardian Angel on top. Let's watch it one more time. The true Cinder, the MVP of the fight, right there, under tower. We're looking at the Cinder. XPW is gonna walk up again. No flash, means a Vampire is around. Pins him in place. And they actually managed to kill the Victor and get out of a 2 versus 3 scenario. So once they take the Victor down, with the help of course, from downtown. See, right here, Karis walks out, and that's where the slow connects. That's where the slow connects from Lee Sin, and if you don't take the Cinder right there, you're dead.
See, this is why I love having you with me here for this cast, Trouble. You just notice the small things that make such a difference. I would have completely missed that and just disregarded it as a failed auto, but the Cinder diff coming across. This is a worrying mid-game state here for LGD. They really got to find ways to mostly try and get gold on XQW, because you called it out, right? Like, the comp's going to slow down for LGD. The Lee Sin value isn't going to be that prominent. You need the Victor to scale in. Maybe they're trying to force a fight here at this Dragon. This will be Infernal Soul Point if Monki can get in and steal it. Somehow Vampire is actually right in front of the Dragon. The Climber does pick up despite Vampire trying to herald him. Speaking of heralds, here comes, oh my god, Karis using the full use of the herald to get right onto YCX. There's the lifeline cut out from under the Lucian.
Wow, that was a really cool usage of the Reef Herald right there. They will lose the Dragon, WE, but they will take that one tool for themselves and a little bit more control on the map. At the end of the day, LGD got what they wanted. They just lost their support, right? It's not the biggest loss. They'll lose their bot lane tower as well. But again, we see that Milio, again, primary target for Akali. You split from the team, you are dead. And he's very, very squishy. First item, Moonstone, like... It's getting a little bit dicey right here. Karis keeps picking up kills. Shadow Flame already completed. That's a 2-item Akali into a very squishy Milio, 5 levels down. I mean, yeah, I don't know where this Milio can actually hide to support his team to actually stay alive.
This is going to be borderline bullying, isn't it, going forward from Karis? And, ooh,
He's just a small kid, man.
Just a small little guy with his sick little magical ball throwing it around. He's just trying to, you know, bring people to the campfire, have a good time, and Karis is going to ruin, delete all of that. But back to what I wanted to talk to you about, Trouble, before that Dragon fight started off. How worrying is it that the Victor is by far the most far behind for LGD?
I mean, I have to say, XQW has kind of put himself there, right? We have seen a bunch of overextensions from him without the flash, and even though Vampire is at the right place at the right time, it takes two to tango, right? XQW overextending and then Vampire punishing. So props to Vampire for obviously being there, and right here you see that Climber sort of like shadowing his mid lane to push out that way. The hardest part is when you have things like Victor, like an immobile carryover in the mid lane, when things like your side lane towers start falling, it becomes very, very dangerous for one of these champions to sort of be on the side lane pushing down the wave. And especially when you have Lucian, you need that Lucian to be in the mid lane, to be the bully that Lucian can be. And as we mentioned also earlier, no rapid fire cannon needed right here, because you do have the melee, you get the extension on the range, it's the Flicker Blade ascent.
Yep, just maximizing how quick those cooldowns come up and how much you can get out of your auto attacks. Picture shows Shaoye is still playing with fire and confident as ever. Uses that culling to force Taeyoon off of another wave. As LGD, I'm glad you highlighted, have a real big turret problem. They need to open up more of the map, because right now WE have a lot more of the field to roam on. Got that Dragon spawning in 2 minutes, maybe out of the mist, Monki looking for a fight to start, but this has been the one lane that LGD have had the most control of. As you can see, the difference in health bars on those mid-tier 1 turrets.
And right here we have in 2 minutes the next Dragon spawning. This is Lucian territory, right? You put your Lucian in the mid lane, he dashes forward, he takes some entire HP bar Vampire.
Hey, Climber! Great kick combo from the Ward Hop, and Vampire is down. It took a while, Trouble, but that's the playmaking we needed out of this Lee Sin from Climber.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, right here, it doesn't really resolve too much. LGD are most likely just gonna look to take that mid lane tier 1. They're even going to transition that Udyr towards the mid lane as RCX is gonna pop his ult right there for good measure. A little bit of healing, a little extra healing on the Lucian. They'll take that mid lane tier 1, which again is very, very important. With the overextensions, you also up the playability and playmaking ability of that Lee Sin, but with the resets coming through from the set of LGD, WE are gonna take that turn to start the
Love this. Love this. We know what WE can do fighting. We know they love to throw hands, go blow for blow, walk and smoke, whatever analogy you want to throw around. This is what we need to see improve from them. Recognizing when they have timers to punish LGD resets. That is a very promising sign that we need to see from WE, Trouble. And it wasn't any fighting.
Absolutely.
0 fighting, right?
I mean, they just called Vampire, right? That wasn't much fighting. It was just like, yeah, maybe they just caught one out of position right there. But WE had to take that tower. They committed resources to take that tower over in the mid lane. They transitioned Sasi to the mid lane with the Udyr. They used the Millia ult as well. And then they had to take that reset. On that reset, WE super quick to punish right there. Now they're pinging all over the Dragon. They do have a bunch of setup, a bunch of vision around that neutral objective for the side of LGD. And the items are starting to come through. Particularly, I'm looking at Illusion, who's very, very close to the Infinity Edge as well. My eyes, though, are onto Karis, on that Akali. Can he find the backline? Can he assassinate the Milio? 4 levels down for YCX. And Seeker's Armguard in the inventory of Karis.
Pulling out early. Vampire doesn't really pay much to get that culling out. So, kind of neuter the Lucian damage a bit. LGD vanquish control of the river, still sticking around, but look at Karis off the side. He is on a ward. LGD know that the Akali is trying to flank. They've lost sight of Karis once more. We see that assassin-like impact out of Karis' Akali. He's the big bad when it comes to the gold department. Climber's trying to hold him off to the side. He's got 2 big problems in front of him. Dragon going to be secured soon. Vampire gets the stun up. They're going all in for Shaoye, but it's picked up the Dragon by Monki, and down falls Shaoye. Look at the Aatrox with the World Ender of the Akali flying in with the 5-pointed strike to send 4 members of LGD packing back to the fountain.
WE pinched LGD in a very tight spot in their jungle, and they flanked them literally to death. 5-0 and 3 on this Akali. 3.8 thousand gold up to his counterpart. WE are gonna take the Dragon. They're gonna take mid lane tier 1. They're gonna take mid lane tier 2, and they're gonna grow themselves a 9,000 gold lead.
They broke this whole thing open, Trouble. That one fight was building up. Try and see who can find the edge of this game. Take me back through this potentially game-winning fight from WE.
I mean, you knew Akali's there, but what do? If you want to commit to this objective, you don't want to give soul points away. So they tried to find a way where they just move themselves in, but I feel like that was Sasi's job to do, like keep the Akali at bay. And Sasi was just a little bit too far forward underneath the Dragon, tried to create some space, but there was no one to create space for. So I feel like unless Udyr is really zoning that Akali away, Karis can literally play his own game.
Now, he's not just playing his own game. He's forcing everybody to play the game with him, with his own rule set by this point. Still has the Seekers, didn't even need to pop that. Zhonya's has the perfect execution back up, maybe without the flash, but anybody can get checked by this Akali, start seeing black and white once more, and maybe it'll be around this Baron pit. With mid lane wide open, we start to have that conversation again of just WE being able to threaten anybody alone on these side waves. Honestly, any wave at this point. No matter if you just don't have an eye on Karis, it's probably coming for you.
Yeah, this is the very dangerous part, right? Making it through your jungle, the choke points, or the opportunities for flanks for the Akali to find different routes around, getting onto Milio, getting onto Shaoye. Shaoye does not have his flash available, neither does YCX. So how do you really hook up to get any sort of remnants of vision in your own jungle, or even contest for that Baron that you know is going down, but you're unable to hook up for?
It's out of half HP, but WE were leaving a bait. Sasa, probably the best one to check it out. Baron's going to reset. Half HP Udyr. They've got the Milio. They got the Cozy Campfire. Udyr's going to be able to heal, so game of chicken won by LGD the first time, but there's more than one round, Trouble.
Yeah, I feel like the only way they can make it through this this Baron pit is pushing through that mid lane, walking through that river, which is exactly what they're doing right now. Can Sasi make the difference right here? Level 16 Udyr.
Mark Karis, but the Baron in solo already, and Karis hops back over the wall, goes into the stasis perfectly. Karis escapes and then dashes back in alongside Monki, who knocks down Climber, gets the reset, uses the hijack Sonic Wave to get another one. It's all just rolling down here. Here comes the locomotive of WE. An ace like that, and with Baron, they've ended the game with one swift kick.
Apparently, they handed over the Lee Sin to the guy who can play better. Monki takes the soul of Climber, solidifies the fight, and WE put themselves on match point this series.
Maybe their most complete game doing it as well, Trouble. 15-3 in the kill count, 27 minutes, all that's needed for them to get one win away from playoffs, and maybe more importantly, a second split in Group Ascent.
Damn, okay, you know what? I'll say it, I was wrong. I thought that Akali lock-in was a very, very bold move. I was like, hey, you already have Ezreal Leona, maybe you can play from far away, maybe you can play from poke, play Hui. Screw Hui, man. If you can
Now,
have this performance, playing Akali, WE, fantastic game, right? We said they took it slow, but they ended faster, and this is what we expected from them, right? That's what we wanted from them, playing so many games into that Group Ascent, learning from the better teams, the bigger teams, right? Coming into this series, it was very sloppy. Game 1, Game 2, Game 2 they even lost, right? Game 1 they brought back, but both of them were sloppy. Right now, you mentioned in the early game, you're like, I wasn't expecting them to be slow. Viego needed farm, Akali needed one item. Once they got that, they started rolling.
Exactly. And I know we've thrown around the word confidence a lot today because that's just like an easy marker that hooks up with WE's entire identity. But I want to start using, confidence versus arrogance. Early in the series, we saw an arrogant WE that always wanted to fight early,
Sure.
no matter what timers were on, what ults, what summoners were up, and LGD did a good job punishing in Game 2, but this Game 3, we saw the confidence combined with patience, like you're talking about, in that early game, waiting for their champions to get online, waiting to accrue a gold that they confidently feel like they can get, so once they're far ahead, confidence and arrogance blur together with how much gold advantage they had and the damage they pushed out. Again, it was 2 fights, but they were so lopsided, it was enough to end this game pre-30 minutes.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like arrogance was maybe a little bit needed in this game, specifically because they were just playing better, right? Like XQW overextending. Vampire was exactly where he needed to be, right? He was following Monki around, getting those kills onto Viego, getting those kills onto Akali. Like Vampire literally lived and breathed to get kills for his 2 mid jungle carries, and it really showed here as well, right? Karis had a fantastic performance, and it doesn't necessarily wow in terms of the numbers that we're seeing on our screen right now, but he always found the Millia in the backline. They always found the Victor on the side lane. They constantly kept putting pressure to the point where I was like, hey, if this goes a little bit later on in the game, like Sasi is gonna be like a big problem on that Udyr. It never reached that point.
No, it didn't. And credit to Cube for like constantly matching and not giving avenues for Udyr to accrue leads to be that one tank in a game full of brawlers. But again, Karis, we talked about in the pre-show, we gave our flowers trouble to Monki. We talked about Vampire, how he's had, a meteoric rise in some senses, had some really impactful games. Talked about Taeyoon, reliable Ezreal, reliable AD carry. What could really take WE up a notch as they continue to try and build a team that can contend in the future is what they get out of their solo lane. So that's why it's so awesome to see Karis have, and I'll say it early, an MVP-like performance on this Akali.
Absolutely, and I feel like in game number 2 on the Rise, I feel like he was kind of like the saving grace for them, I want to say, especially in the early game. Like his playmaking roams again with the Rise as well. Right here with the Akali, he wasn't missing, right? Like even here when they literally engaged on him, he just eat back into the pit and then Personias and then came back in for vengeance, right? And that's what I was saying about the Lee Sin, man. Just give it to the guy who can play better, apparently.
Hey, he's 1 for 100% hit rate on those Sonic waves. Only had to hit one.
Damn! 100% hit rate on that 1 Q!
Don't look at the attempts, just look at the percentage. That's all we really care about here.
We skew stats right here to serve our purpose.
Yes, that's always how you should approach stats. With as much bias as humanly possible. No. We're preaching some bad things to the people out there. What are we preaching though for player of the game? I already alluded my answer. Are we united? Trouble once again. We kind of broke away in game 2. We were united in game 1. Gotta come back together, behind Karis.
Yeah, I feel like Karis definitely had a fantastic performance right here on that Akali. I will dare to say, my God, Vampire was worthy of an MVP performance here too. I mean, like, he was the reason why all the skills were going over to Akali and to Monki's Viego, right? He made those plays early on. I never thought I was gonna say this, or it was never gonna come out of my mouth, but I feel like Vampire maybe was worth it somewhere there, but Akali's more fancy, man.
It's more fun, it's more flashy, and it doesn't get the player of the game!
Wait, I'm 3 out of 3! I'm 3 out of 3! What?
You are. I'm 1 out of 3. You know what? I like it. Vampire, 3rd player of the game. That's not... I will say, though, Better not see him on any of your all-pro teams, all right? Relax. Good game, though, from Vampire nonetheless. WE on match point, series point. As many expected, but LGD, they showed how they can beat this team. Game 2 was not close. Can they find a way to figure out their identity? Maybe play around Shaoye once again with limited champ pool and a lot more hyper carry 80 carries left up on the board.